Here we go.
No Nation, welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown. Here on a balmy Friday afternoon, I'm right here in the panhandle of Florida. My beautiful and lovely co-host is always with me, Jen Santee, up in I almost said Michigan, up in Memphis, Tennessee. You can find her on X at Jen Santee 1890 or Jen Knoll 2013. You can find me at Renegade Report 1. Of course, right here at the Renegade Report 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Live right here with you guys hanging out. Today we have a special guest. He's running a few minutes behind, but he should be here any minute as we kind of discuss where we are with Florida State's ever-going court battle with the ACC. There's kind of so many bits and pieces and different locations. So there was another court date that happened yesterday in North Carolina. So we want to cover that, exactly what came of that, or when we're going to find out what came of that. We're waiting on Florida State's amended complaint here in the state of Florida to go through. So that's another angle on it. And of course, we've got dates sneaking up on us fast. Also, we've got some portal business to discuss, a little bit of high school recruiting to discuss, all kinds of fun things. I've got some fun clips loaded up from my cousin Vinny. That's what kind of the inspiration was for the thumbnail today for this show. So we're going to have fun with that when our lawyer friend gets here. But how's it going today, Jen? How are we doing?
Oh, it's going good. It's going good. Busy. It's Friday, thank God. How about you?
Oh, well, I just went on a whole spiel, but I'm killing it, man. But did you see that Keon Coleman interview with who was that with? I guess it was just with members
RG3.
of his coaching staff.
Were you talking about the RG3 one or that one? Because there was a couple.
Well, I was talking about the one I mentioned, but there's also the RG3 one for sure. But yeah, the one I was thinking of is the one where he was talking about golf that ended up getting retweeted by the PGA Tour and everything else. Man, he is some kind of character. I'll tell you what. It's like he's been in the NFL for 30 minutes and he's already gone viral like 3 different times. It's pretty freaking hilarious.
I mean, he got the Georgia fans like having a meltdown. It's like, why are y'all having a meltdown over what Keon called? Like, just get over it, okay? Get over it. Move on. Stop whining. And you know what? He was kind of right. Y'all should have beaten Alabama. Why does Alabama have your number? That's nobody else's fault but your own.
Say that again?
Georgia lost. Like, I was saying that, Keon got all these Georgia fans upset, and all he said was Georgia should have beaten Alabama, and then they wouldn't have felt left out. But of course, they were angry when they showed up, which is a point I made on the show a while ago. When you lose, you kind of have something to win for. When you win constantly, you don't have anything to win for. You already did it. And then you were told none of it mattered. So I'm
but
a little tired.
But if they would have handled business.
Yes. Yeah. Like, he wasn't wrong. I'm saying what he...
I'm just trying to set up the thing we talked about before the show. But Keon Coleman said if Georgia would have handled their fucking business...
is wrong.
All up here. I was trying to set you up, Jen, that's all. And this is what happens on live TV. Things get all messed up. But anyways, we were trying to make a joke about Keon Coleman calling out all those Georgia dudes. It's hilarious. They're so pissed off. But even worse than the Georgia people is the Florida people. I got all these Florida people in my mentions telling me how it's like lame and all this stuff. And Keon needs to grow up and he needs to get over it. And it's like, man, Florida... I could just imagine defending Miami and getting mad about somebody talking trash about Miami on national TV. That shit would be hilarious.
We wouldn't do it. Like, Florida State fans would never, like, I don't understand these Florida fans just groveling at the feet of Georgia. It's kind of gross and so beta. Like, how did you turn such beta males to sit there and pump your chest for the biggest rival you have in your conference who beats the shit out of you on a yearly basis? I don't understand this. It's gross to me. And it's like they've lost their competitive nature, which I guess I would too if I was just winning like 2 to 4 games a year. Like, I don't understand that. But you're the University of Florida. You're supposedly, as you call yourself, the flagship, university in the state, which we all disagree with. I'm just saying, if you pump your chest out and you say you're the flagship university, for you to sit there and just be like, look at Georgia, it's gross. And it's so beta. And it's just, I feel like they've lost the will to win and be competitive. I just like,
That would have
I
been
think,
perfect. You killed that one. But let's bring finally our guys come here to save us. Attorney Doug Rohan is live with us. We're talking about Keon riling up all the Georgia fans. And you missed it. I had my production blunder of the day, so maybe it'll go smooth now that you're here, my friend.
Excellent. Glad to hear. Yeah, Morton. The Knowles
What you
are
got
down
there?
6-2, so I got my
Okay.
James Tibbs autographed baseball jersey on to bring him some juju. Let's hope after this lightning delay that they can get the bats going again and try to rally and make this a W.
I swear, we're on every single time the players or the baseball team's playing. The chat was giving Jen and me hell for it the other night, but it's like we can't help it, man. Baseball plays like 4 nights a week.
Exactly.
They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I guess they play every Tuesday and Friday. I know they play another time or two in there, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, but
sometimes Tuesday and Wednesday. Yep.
We
yeah,
always
and
know the school.
I just told him, I said, guys, it's fine. You can just rewatch later. Like, you don't have to send hateful messages. We just have a scheduled time. It's all good. We love the baseball team too. We just have to keep going,
It's appointment listening.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you joining us. We kind of went over a little bit of the stuff earlier, just kind of laid it out. But I guess we can start with yesterday. There's not a ton that we got to learn. There's a lot of different conversations all over the place. You had some really cool interactions on Twitter, a lot of conversations, but I guess just yesterday, what are your thoughts there? We can start from square one.
Sure.
What exactly happened yesterday? I know the court, Judge Bledsoe heard, the opinions or whatever it were, but I don't think people really out there have any clue what happened yesterday.
We're getting very technical now, and so part of it is it's a little bit more procedural and kind of boring. But what's happened is Florida State has appealed the prior decision of Judge Bledsoe, which was the decision not to stay or not to dismiss the complaint. And so the ACC attorneys are arguing now that because we have this case moving forward in North Carolina, we need to move forward with discovery and we need to move forward with the rest of the case. Because again, remember, with these cases both competing now in Florida and North Carolina, there is some benefit to finding out which state finishes first, if we ever get to the finish line. So the ACC is interested in keeping the case on track and keeping it moving forward. Florida State, curiously enough, is arguing against it. Florida State wants to slow roll it. They want to make sure that the Florida case can catch up and get ahead. And so they're trying to say, look, as long as we're fighting over jurisdiction in the Court of Appeals, then we shouldn't be talking about any discovery. And that's why I was saying on Monday, don't stress about this hearing too much because it's a win-win. Either way, Florida State gets something they want. Whether or not we move this case forward along, then that means we start getting the discovery that we wanted all along. Or if the judge decides to stop the process and put everything on ice pending the appeals, then we get to let Florida move ahead in terms of the priority, which one is moving faster. So it's a win-win scenario for Florida State. It really wasn't that big a deal. I'm just more curious to see what the order is, and that order should come out next week.
So it's a win-win. So that's a great thing to hear that it's just kind of procedural. Is there one that you would lean? Would you rather them delay it to give the Florida case a chance to catch up? Do you think that would be the ultimate best thing? Or do you think moving forward to get what discovery you can there in North Carolina on the table would be necessarily the best move for Florida State?
I personally think that pressuring a pressure campaign to get to settlement is going to be more valuable right now than seeing who wins. Because again, the chance of either of these cases going all the way to the end, I would put at less than 5%. So if we know we're moving towards settlement and if we know we're moving towards mediation, then let's start getting these depositions taken. Let's start exchanging these documents. Let's get the answer that the ACC or that Florida State still owes to the court for the ACC complaint. Let's go ahead and move things along, because once we get those details out, that's what's going to provide a little bit more pressure, hopefully to the ACC and with the sidecar of ESPN to go ahead and get this case moving towards a solution.
All right, Jen, don't let me take all the questions, but I will if you want me to.
No, I mean, I'm good. I just, I guess it's the South Carolina judge that ordered them to unredact information.
So that was the order today.
Yeah. Do we know why in Florida we didn't get the same? Okay.
Well, the issue in North Carolina and Florida is because there are Florida state attorneys involved in the process. ESPN and the ACC proposed already that they would be happy to provide the agreement to Florida state. There just has to be an order of protection. There has to be a protective order in place, protecting the disclosure of that
Which
to
Florida
the public.
state can't do. Yeah.
And the Florida state attorneys are prohibited from agreeing to that. Now, it could be ordered later on, but it has to go through that process. Clemson and South Carolina don't have those same concerns. So, yeah, the Clemson attorneys are like, sure, as long as we get to see it and we get to file it and we get to use it, we're happy to make sure the public doesn't get to see it. And so that's effectively what happened today.
So we're basically in the business now of bribing people that work in South Carolina to go steal that so we can all just publish it everywhere, correct? Is that what we're doing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now, remember, we do believe that the Florida state attorneys have already seen the agreement, just like the ACC grant of rights that's under lock and key. I do believe from the early parts of this litigation that it was made clear that the FSU attorneys had a chance to review it. The problem is we can't have any motions on that. We can't fight about it because we can't include it as an exhibit. So until we clear the procedural hurdles in North Carolina to get the document produced, we're still kind of waiting until that happens. So South Carolina and Clemson can move forward with their part of the case, use it as an exhibit. It's just the public version of that document will have redacted portions.
So I'm glad Jen brought this question because it's kind of like the perfect one. I know that there weren't cameras in the courthouse that we saw from South Carolina, but I just wanted to show this clip. This was the ACC explaining what it's like to come down there and view that thing at their headquarters.
Hey, Mr. Crane, what are these pictures of?
My house and stuff.
House and stuff. And what is this brown stuff on the windows?
Dirt.
Dirt? What is this rusty, dusty, dirty-looking thing over your window?
It's a screen.
A screen. It's a screen.
Anyways, it's pretty ridiculous, the whole process.
Super
I don't know
clear.
if that joke
Super
lands
clear.
or not, but yeah. When you talk about disclosure, I thought it was an interesting thing that was pointed out, you know, in regards to Clemson's lawsuit, like you guys mentioned in South Carolina versus Florida State's situation. I think Florida State pointed out that they didn't agree with the ACC's term of disclosure because the board of trustees should be able to talk to the president and the different people that they have to, and they're also held to Florida law. But Clemson's side of it, you know, they also had a different sort of argument on disclosure. I guess, could you kind of clear that up exactly? You know, what's the significance of this thing coming out and Clemson basically saying, like, look, we're publishing it. This is what it is. This is what it says as far as our disclosure. Our hands aren't tied.
Right. So Clemson gets to provide a public copy of the filing with the sensitive matters obscured and not being published. But then in the actual court filing, what the judge sees, the paper filing, is in an envelope that's sealed and labeled as confidential, and only parties to the case get a chance to see that document that has the unredacted portion. In Florida, the Florida state attorneys cannot say that's okay. Now, the judge in Florida can order it to be disclosed that way, and the North Carolina judge can order it to be disclosed that way. But then we still have the question of, okay, what happens now in terms of the sunshine laws? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know If there is some kind of punishment or restriction, it would seem unusual, it would seem unreasonable for that to be the case. But as long as the judge is the one ordering the restriction of those documents, saying this is sensitive information, I do make a finding that this is trade secrets, then it should fit within the Sunshine Law agreement and laws that allow the FSU attorneys to review it. The difference is the Florida state attorneys cannot agree to it. So that's where the complexity lies.
Really inside baseball stuff here, guys. Really inside baseball stuff. But,
Yeah.
honestly, there's just, like I said, not a ton to come up. But before we move on and get into the Florida stuff, did you have something on this part before we move on?
Yeah. So we've got a lot of questions saying, well, can't Clemson just share? And I don't know the legal term, or at least it's missed my mind, but no, they can't. They cannot just share it with anybody because it's considered attorney work. It's a work product, right? You cannot share that.
You're close. The judge's order is that this
yeah.
is for the parties.
Right.
Florida State is not a party to the South Carolina suit.
Right. But also they couldn't just pick up the phone just because it's Clemson or whatever, because it's a work product. You cannot share a work product, right? And so again, as much as I joke to say we should hire somebody to go pick it up and put it in, my guess would be the judge in Florida wouldn't even look at it because, again, it's
Protected.
not for anybody to see, right?
So for the work product objection that you're talking
Yes.
about, that's a protective order. That's an objection
Right.
to disclosing something. So it's not really analogous here because that's what an attorney says when they don't want to produce something. Here, I truly believe that there are phone calls taking place. I truly believe that the FSU counsel and the Clemson counsel are talking and strategizing and coming up with ideas. The difference is FSU has already seen the agreement. FSU cannot agree to protect those documents, cannot redact those documents, and they can't use those documents yet. Until that judge has provided the order that it will be protected, it will be redacted under his instructions, Florida State has to wait. Florida State has to be patient.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well,
is there any more?
I mean,
If there's any more questions from the chat, I know it goes by so fast, I don't even hardly see them. But before we move on, I do got one more after if you give them another one.
I guess. Yeah, no, I think I'm good on this. I just, with the way, whatever happened in North Carolina and then also in South Carolina, have you changed your opinion? Do you still see this going towards possibly like a settlement? Because I just don't see it going anywhere else.
Yeah, I still am confident that this will be a post-August 15th settlement. I don't think anything's going to happen by the end of June. I don't think anything's going to happen before August 15th. I still think that we're on track for talks to get serious after August 15th.
I don't know. I don't know that the ACC wants us in there in 2020. I just think it's become such a problem. I don't know. We'll have to see. I want to see how some other things shake out. I just think that the ACC and Florida State hate each other so much, and now Clemson. I almost think that if North Carolina would actually jump in this, that would make things go a lot quicker.
I agree.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That would be a huge domino to fall. One of the spicier moments, I guess, that we got from the other day, and maybe you can get into this, sovereign immunity. Counsel for FSU casually throws out a reference saying that I'm sure the U.S. Supreme Court would agree if the North Carolina Supreme Court does not. I know you really loved that quote and had a tweet about it. Give you an opportunity to address that.
Yeah, look, at the end, when these attorneys are thinking about what their arguments are going to be and what they're going to say in court, you don't sleep the night before a hearing. You're going through 100 different versions of what you're going to say and how you're going to say it and what things could come up. So every line that is uttered is a line that they've practiced in their head. Nothing truly comes off the cuff. Nothing is spontaneous. So obviously there have been discussions within the team about this possibility. Obviously they've made the strategic choice to dangle it out there. Judges don't care about threats. Judges don't care about procedural delays. So it doesn't really have much of an impact other than communicating to the other party, look, we're willing to fight this all the way. We're willing to expend the time and the effort, and we welcome the opportunity, if necessary, to extend this fight all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, until there is an opinion from the Florida court that it contravenes the North Carolina court, I don't know procedurally how the attorneys expect to get before the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is there to decide matters that are federal or conflicts between the states. So if there are two different opinions on the issue of sovereign immunity, which, let me say as an aside, I think is a little bit of a loser of an argument. I don't think that sovereign immunity prohibits Florida State from being sued in North Carolina. Then it just shows, look, we're here for the long haul. We're here for the delay. We're here for the grind. We're not here to move this case through the court as quickly as you want it to. And that's, again, a tactic for driving the parties to settlement.
Beautiful. So before we get into Florida, I guess the one last question, as we pointed out earlier, we didn't get a ruling. Judge Bledsoe doesn't do like Cooper, where he hears all the information, gets that ruling, goes to that information. He gets the whole thing in. And what do you expect? Maybe a week or so, and what's next when we get that next ruling before we move down?
I'd put the line at Thursday, over under on Thursday. It seems to be that Judge Bledsoe has been following that pattern where he knows he doesn't want to do this, on a Friday news dump. He wants to make sure that it's earlier in the week, but he's going to take Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to put his report together. So yeah, I have every expectation this will probably be Thursday of next week.
Well, it sure sounded good as we move down to Florida and what we have going on with Judge Cooper, the Honorable Judge Cooper in the Leon County Court. It sure sounded good when he was like, yeah, we're going to run through, we're going to get all this done in one day. And even after the first day, I was pretty happy. I thought maybe that was going to be one of the bigger things. So we got that one out of the way. I thought maybe we finished on the second one, but no, turning out he's pretty long-winded. This thing could take a while. He gave us that date that was widely reported. We had you on directly after you confirmed it. The 7 days, not counting weekends, that Florida State had to submit their amended lawsuit. We were going back and forth on Twitter the other day trying to figure out where we could all find it as we hit Wednesday, which would be that, ninth day or seventh day without weekends. But I mentioned to you, I was like, man, every court appearance, every quote you got from him, it's like, send this thing to my email, because if you don't, it could take a while with the state servers, this and that. We went back and forth, and come to find out, we don't even know if the original order has been put in yet. So that whole kind of timeline of 30 days that we thought, we're not so sure on that. But I guess, have you heard anything different there? Is there any kind of timeline you're expecting on maybe when we can start the clock on the ACC's 20 days and get a look at that thing?
No. I think you did a really good breakdown. The bottom line was Judge Bledsoe said, or Judge Cooper said, it's going to be 7 days from the date of the order. Personally, it sounded like he ordered it from the bench. So one version of that could be, the act of saying it is his order. But truthfully, no, it has to be reduced to writing, signed, filed with the clerk. And so they're using that date as the date to start counting the 7 days. And you're right. I still, up to today, haven't seen anything. Now, there's two factors there. The first problem is obviously there's a delay in getting it to both parties to agree and then for the judge to sign off on it. But then we've also seen routinely the clerk's website is days, not hours, not a half day, but days behind on putting out the documents once they are filed. So it could have been filed on Wednesday and we still don't see it on the servers. So I don't know when we're going to get it. Somebody is going to get a copy of it. Somebody is going to know about it, and it probably will be before it's available publicly on the clerk's website. So I'm just keeping my ear out, listening, waiting for it. The nice thing about the publicity that you all have afforded me and coming on your show is that I'm getting tagged with stuff when information does come out. So I assume at some point, as soon as something is filed and is ordered, that we'll find out pretty quickly.
We try to give you a little bump, man. We sure appreciate you and everything you do for us coming to talk about this stuff. It's a lot of fun.
I agree.
Do you stand on federal court? Are you still, I think the last time we talked to you, you were thinking it wouldn't get there, that we would end up settling first. Has anything with this delay, not to interrupt my question in the middle of it, but hopefully we can just hope that things are going on as like on a timetable and the judge already has it, and Clemson's, or not Clemson, but the ACC is already on the clock. But we just can't know that. Like we said, we don't know when that all starts. But has that changed your thoughts on federal court at all, and the likelihood of it between North Carolina and
No,
Florida?
I'm still pretty down on the concept of this going to federal court. I don't see how it'll happen. Of course, we're waiting for FSU's second amended complaint, and we'll see what's alleged in there. As you can see from the Clemson second amended complaint, it can change pretty dramatically, and I expect that there will be some significant changes. That's what I'm really most excited about. Of all the things that are coming up on the timeline, I really want to see what FSU includes in their second amended complaint and what differences there are from the first amended complaint. But unless they've included something there for antitrust, or unless they've included a federal issue of some kind, then no, I don't see this particular case going to federal court. Now, Attorney General Moody has a different idea, and she's starting to push some additional anti-competitive claims and antitrust claims. So she may end up having her lawsuit escalated to federal court much faster than anything that Florida State is doing in Leon County.
She's also suing the NCAA as well.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
It's really wild. And Nick Snyder brings up Clemson is seeking damages in theirs, which is pretty interesting. Before we move on, I want to open up for anybody that has any questions. I'm going to open up the phone number. You guys can text in. But does any of that Clemson seeking damages, the NCAA court case, her case, against the ACC, does any of that, kind of have an effect on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, look, the NCAA is a house of cards. It's been that way for about the last 20 years. They've been on the brink of ineffectiveness, and any rules or any attempts that they've made to try to enforce their rules and enforce their will is exposing them to federal lawsuit, which is why they've been so toothless in their enforcement actions for the last several years. There are some serious antitrust issues. This came out of a case from, I think, 2015 or 2016 that basically put them on notice that should this matter appear in a federal court again, a question of antitrust issues are going to be ruled against them. So that's why they've been they've been operating with kids' gloves since then, because they don't want anybody to have a basis to sue them in federal court. Well, apparently AG Moody has run out of patience, and so she's using this as an opportunity to go ahead and start pushing that litigation through on the antitrust issues. And I really think that the NCAA has a reckoning that's coming in the very near future.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about the antitrust, because the way they got away with that, if I'm not mistaken, to this point, a lot of these things is, oh, well, they're not employees now. We have NIL. They're NIL. It just seems like that next stage of employee is that they've been like teetering over this thing. Student athlete is just dead. It's just a matter of time. There's no doubt about it.
And that's the House case that has been in the news this week. Also, they're talking about settling the House case. The NCAA has to settle that case because it's a $20 billion judgment against them if they lose. So they're talking about each member institution having to pay up to $20 million to their players dating back through 2019. The reason why that date's important is because that's when these NIL statutes start passing and started paying these students. So people pre-NIL aren't getting exposed to any recovery. But that is the last Jenga piece in the NCAA puzzle that was supporting their amateurism rules. And now that that's being stripped away from them, there are no more bases for the NCAA to claim that their antitrust behavior is appropriate, because now they're no longer operating on amateurism.
Facts. Well said. And I can't wait for that stool to get ripped out from underneath them.
I know.
I just hope there's not a rope around their neck so they can waller in the dirt or whatever. But we got our first caller here. You're live on the air with Jen Santee and Doug Rohan and your boy George. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, it's Nick. Oh man, Doug, I have a slightly off-topic question because I caught a bit of this on Chris's show, Spear Addicts. Can you speak a little bit to what Norvell said at the booster meeting with Alabama I think trying to court him.
There you go. He just couldn't wait. We were going to get to it, but I was about to ask if you're playing coy on what's coming up next in the, in the litigation. But you had everybody's ear the other night, so I guess Nick wants you to spill the beans. We appreciate the call, Nick.
Sure. For those people that didn't catch the show and need to catch up, we were at the Atlanta Bowden Society dinner. Coach Norvell comes in every year and speaks to a small group of boosters, and it really is an awesome opportunity. I'm humbled to be able to have an opportunity to get together with 30 or 40 other boosters in a small environment, have one-on-one conversations. Got to meet and hang out with Derek Gray. Got to, of course, caught up with Stephen Ponder. Mike Alford was there. So it was just a lot of fun to be able to spend some time off the record and sharing some drinks and food with some of the very important people at Florida State. But to Nick's point, there was a time where there was a Q&A session, and we did have a chance to, in a group setting, talk to Coach Norvell, and he did mention and admitted that at the end of the day, yeah, there were very much conversations with Alabama, and some of the conversations were regarding what they could provide Coach Norvell. And at the end of the day, he said, in looking around it, especially in this setting, the men standing at the back of the room, the administrators that were there supporting him, the logo that's on his chest, the huge strides that we've made in the last 3 years. He said at the end of the day, the bottom line was not so much the money and what could be offered and what the facilities look like. It's who you do it with. And I think that speaks to the character of Coach Norvell and what he's doing, the reason why he's so selective about the transfers he picks and the recruits he gets. I have the impression now, after 4 recruiting cycles and multiple meetings with Coach Norvell, he could care less what our high school recruiting ranking is. He doesn't care if it's 5, 15, or 50.
Great.
He's looking for his guys. He's looking for the next Tatum Bethune. He's looking for the next Akeem Dent. He doesn't care if they're a 3-star. He's going after Luke Kromenhoek, who hasn't had his first start yet. Those are his guys. And let me be transparent here. This is an opportunity for me to be self-deprecating. If you go back through my Twitter feed a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how we needed to gird up and be ready for the 9 or 10 transfers that were going to leave the program, because we have to get under the scholarship count. And, I won't name sources, but they knew that nobody was leaving. They knew that nobody was transferring out. Greedy Mance was a conversation they had. They were very truthful and honest about what they saw coming in terms of playing time. And Greedy wanted to be a starter. And they have, they're not mad at him. They're not upset with him. But they knew that was really the only guy that they were worried about taking off, because he needs to be a starter. He's going to be a starter somewhere else. Everybody else is bought in to the culture, and they're all his guys, whether high school recruits or transfer portal guys. They're all here to work. And we saw that in the phone call with the Rams of Jared Verse and Brian Fisk. 1 year, these aren't mercenaries. They come in, they bond over the hard work that Coach Norvell puts them through, and then they're sobbing on the phone because they get to play together again in their professional careers. That's something that cannot be compared or measured with in any other program. And, I didn't ask the question, but I wanted to, and it was in the back of my mind. I was like, you do realize that you are the greatest coach in America, right? Like, there is not, I don't want a Kirby Smart. I don't want a Dabo Sweeney. I certainly don't want a Kalen DeBoer, and I don't want to be those programs. What I got from the conversation this week is that, yeah, we went 13-0. Yeah, we won the ACC tournament or championship. He is just starting. We are in third gear as far as he's concerned. And that's what's very exciting. That's what's thrilling. And so now the last piece of the puzzle, not the high school recruiting, the last piece of the puzzle was for Mike to say thank you, but no thank you to Alabama. And now it's all gas, no brakes.
Let's go. And it's funny because you kind of led up to another piece of legislation or litigation that kind of offhand. Because, look, I was right there with you. We were right here on this channel saying, I don't see how you don't have 10 guys hit the portal. We were never thinking it was going to be this great portal class where all the best players hit and Florida State was going to take 10 guys. We said 2, 3, 4 guys tops, but really thought guys were going to have to clear out. Because if you don't know, we were sentenced 5 scholarships that had to be reduced over 2 years. So the idea is you do 2 or 3 this year, 2 or 3 next year. We were at 88, 89 at one point in time. So you're looking at 7 guys. If you're going to bring 2 or 3 in at minimum, okay, that's 10 guys. You had to figure this thing out. I've been on the wire, juking the stats of the thing where you're able to put murders down for felonies, or for felonies down to misdemeanors, murderies down to robberies, and such, these things that happen. I don't know exactly how they're getting it done, but you've heard Doug say it. I've heard from, all kinds of people. They got to figure it out. So the one thing where the litigation comes in, it leads me to believe they're just going to ignore the 5 scholarship reduction this year and just have to work out the 3 or 4 extras and kick the can down the road. Because again, with AG Moody's suit, the one that's on behalf of Florida State and Florida with their NIL situation, I have to wonder if we ever end up, are we going to be the sacrificial lamb again, just like we were the Jackson last year, Daryl Jackson? Like, are we going to be the only ones punished for this? Because they did everything right. They worked with the NCAA, said, okay, whatever we got to do. And then they hung up their badge and gun as soon as they got to the next case, as soon as they met a little friction. Yep. So it's like, we'll see. But I just want everybody to know, don't worry. But thoughts on that and how that could affect it.
Well, it's on brand. I mean, maybe we feel the pain of those issues because it's always us that it never happened to. Nobody's ever had back-to-back wide rights to cost them national championships and against the same opponent. Nobody else has been snubbed in the playoffs. Nobody else has had their 32-year-old quarterback break his neck in a championship season.
Not 32.
Happens a lot.
You have to do the 32. Like,
the bottom line is that there are a lot of things that seem to only happen to Florida State, and the fans are not wrong that are mad when they're pointing at Tennessee saying, what the hell, why are we getting hit and they're not? Well, the bottom line there is that we had a cooperative witness, and the rule in the criminal law system is, shut the fuck up Fridays. Sorry if you have to bleep anything out or do any additional work, but that's, STF, FUF, you don't say anything. And unfortunately we had video, we had cameras, we had names, we had phone numbers, we had text messages. So you couldn't not participate. You couldn't get more trouble by lying to the investigator. So yeah, it was just a bad set of circumstances, a bad set of facts. At the end of the day, I trust Coach Norvell. I trust Stephen Ponder. I trust President McCullough. I trust Alford. If those 4 guys say this was the appropriate way to resolve this, then that was the appropriate way to resolve it. They have my unwavering support.
Like, I understand why they didn't fight it, because they were already dealing with the stuff with the ACC. There was so much more going on with the snub and other things. I don't think getting into more litigation. But I think with the Tennessee one, I'm going to disagree with you. Tennessee had a cooperating witness too. They 100% did. They fought it because they were on their last leg. If Tennessee got hit with another thing, their asses, those sorry ass orange losers that are only the same color of orange that Miami is, that keep losing the same amount of years, they haven't been relevant the same amount of years. We all get it. They had to. They were fighting tooth and nail. They were about to get bowl bans. They were about to get multiple things. They had to fight back. And by the way, it was still bullshit the way they got hit by that one. I mean, not the Jeremy Pruitt stuff, but I mean, I can't, go there because my man was given money in McDonald's bags. Okay. Like, that's wild. It's crazy. And then they still won 7 games. It's very Miami. They're very Miami. Just going 100 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour zone and still losing. I don't know how you do it. It's amazing, but continue because it's fun for me. But I think that's why Tennessee fought, because they had to. They were clawing for their relevance back because, they've got a really good team this year. They're going to have some success. And with Nico, their quarterback, had they lost a bowl, like if they had gotten a bowl ban off this, that kid would have transferred in 2 seconds. And they would have been stuck on the hook for that $1 million they gave his ass, So I just, I think that's because they did have a cooperating witness too. I just think that for Florida State, I think with all the things going on, they chose to just take this punishment and not go in another battle, which I can't say I blame them.
Mhm.
I think had they
Agreed.
known Tennessee and Virginia would win like the way they did, I think they would have fought it. But I think they had so much going on at the time, you know.
Agreed.
Yep, for sure. The only question is moving forward if they stick with it or if they try to work their way out of it. I'd be remiss if we didn't mention this. We talked about it on the Voice of College Football on Wednesday. I'm sure you guys talked about it, but I had a guy message in. I saw somebody in the chat, but one of our guys just said, "Hey guys, I just wanted to pay my respects to the Rooster." Of course, Marcus Outson, veteran FSU football player, quarterback. He was the backup for most of his career, but came in and started a couple amazing games. I believe beat Florida in a huge game. Just one of these guys, even though he was a backup, he's known at Florida State. He's just a big part of the family. So thoughts and prayers out there to everybody involved, all his friends and family. And if anybody has any stories about the Rooster that they want to share, now would be a great time for that.
Well, I was at that game. That was the one and only time I ever sat in the student section. Being a marching chief for 4 years, I never had to endure that trauma. I had nice folding seats with a backpack full of my own Powerade and vodka. But sitting in the student section, all crammed in, hanging out, it was fun to be in that end zone. That's where the throw went to Peter Warwick to seal it. It was his only touchdown throw of the night late in the fourth quarter. And yeah, the stadium absolutely lost their minds because, again, third string quarterback. It's just like what we went through with Tate Rodemaker and then the bowl game. The third string quarterbacks, you really struggled to win games. We had Dan Kendra was supposed to be the backup that season. He was trying to set a record with the leg press and stupid vanity thing, but he was going to have the strongest leg press of any football team member ever. And unfortunately, instead, he blew out his knee. And so we didn't get to see the Dan Kendra experience. That people talk about Jared Lorenzen. It would have been a lot of fun to see 6'6", 200 or 310 pounds, whatever that he was in his stats as a quarterback, with thighs as big as tree trunks running the ball. You want to talk about a 4th and 1 play? Yeah, that would have been a punishing quarterback to have back there. But instead, we got a skinny little redhead kid with spaghetti arms. And when the biggest lights showed up and the biggest stage and the biggest night game, this kid Rooster showed up and showed out and led the team to a 24-point of offense. And of course, one of those touchdowns was Peter Warwick's touchdown, but still, it was an impressive display against a rival who I think at that point was one of the years that they were ranked ahead of Florida State. So it was a big deal to win that game.
No doubt. And like I said, we'll always remember Mr. Outson, and prayers out to Rooster and your family. Just a great Noel, and just from a different time. One of these guys, unlike a Tate Rodemaker, some of these guys nowadays that leave out, you can't blame them. They go get an opportunity. Back in those days, guys waited. They stayed as backups and waited their opportunity, and they prepared. They don't run when it came, and you got to see that with him, and it's a beautiful thing. Both of those guys I named beat Florida as a backup, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, rest in peace, Rooster.
Absolutely.
And as we move on, not heck of a transition. The chat is just loving this version of Doug on the show. They said they haven't seen that side. You must have missed the first couple times. Like this is,
I told you, Friday nights are different. Yeah. Friday nights are different.
Yeah, Doug enjoys coming on here with us on Fridays, so we get him a little loosey-goosey. We love it. We enjoy it. He deserves it. Everybody deserves to just kick back every once in a while and have fun.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm sure there are some people that are tired of seeing me, but I do show up on a couple different pods, and every one of them has a different audience. Every one of them has a different style. Everyone has their own approach to it. So I do want to make it interesting because I know you all have viewers, and a lot of you have viewers that are overlap, and so I don't want it to be the same boring show just regurgitating the same facts. It's funny, I've seen a couple of these other shows that don't have Doug Rohan on, and I get a chuckle every time I read the comments because 9 times out of 10 they say you got to have Doug Rohan on. I'm committed to the 4 shows I'm on. probably am not going to expand much beyond that. So I love the love that I get from your viewers and from Garnet and Old, and of course from Double Fries and Spiraticus. Last week that was a pop in, but it's been a lot of fun to be doing this.
Oh yeah, man. And we always appreciate it. Like clockwork, we get our guy in here to break this stuff down for us. We didn't even ask you how long you had. You just kind of jumped in here. So don't let us keep you all night. You're more than welcome to stay as long as you want. But right now, we do want to give you opportunity to kind of plug your law firm and let us all know exactly what you got going on. I know you're constantly growing, adding attorneys and paralegals and everything else. What's going on at Rohan Law?
Yeah, we've got a new paralegal starting on Tuesday, in fact. So you hit the nail on the head. We are growing. But Rohan Law is out of Atlanta, Georgia, and we handle criminal defense and work accidents. We say that we want to be your best friends on your worst day, because it's true. You don't want to need my services. If you need my services, it's a really bad day. I was just on the phone with a dad whose 17-year-old son is spending the night in Fulton County Jail tonight because he made some bad decisions. And even though it was after hours and even though the office is closed, I knew if I was a parent calling around attorneys' offices on Friday afternoon at 6 o'clock trying to get some answers, I'd want to get somebody on the phone. So, we go the extra mile. We're happy to pick up the phone and have those conversations. And so if you or any friends find yourself in trouble in Georgia, then please do call me. But since I know everybody is responsible and everybody is safe at work, for right now, just follow us on X. Follow Rohan Law PC on X and enjoy the conversations we have. But that way, if you ever do need me somewhere down the road, you've got my information handy and you remember to reach out. And if you need somebody in Florida, I've still got lots of friends. I went to Florida State for law school, double Knoll. So all of my friends are in Tampa and Orlando and Jacksonville and West Palm Beach. So if you have an accident of some kind, call me up. I get a cut of it. So hook a brother up. You can thank me that way. But we'll find you the attorney that you need down there in Florida if you have any kind of accident.
So I know you have attorney-client privilege, but it just occurred to me where you're located. So just nod for yes, whatever. How many of those 30 UGA speeding, reckless, how many of those cases have you picked up, Doug? I mean,
so I did have a conversation with Norvell about that at the Bowden Society, and I was like, it's shocking that we've heard about their perceived cultural issues because we backed out of our game with Georgia. NIL buys the same cars in Athens as they do in Tallahassee. Those fine athletes are driving the brand new Corvettes and are driving the brand new Camaros and Dodge Chargers and Hellcat trucks. It seems to me that our team doesn't have a problem observing the speed limit. So if anybody wants to talk about culture issues, then let's talk about, how the same players with the same cars, in the same opportunities of small city America, one team seems to be making good choices with what to do with their free time and the other one's not.
So we have Brad Powers has just hit his 3-month mark. So it comes with a super chat. He says, Doug, do you work in front of Judge Alex Manning?
I don't know a Judge Alex Manning. He's new in Fulton County Superior Court, not somebody I have appeared before. There's a Jane Manning in Cobb County that I've been in front of a dozen times, and I've actively campaigned for her. But I'd love to hear more about your Alex Manning stories and your connection to him. But as of right now, no, I have not appeared before Alex Manning in Fulton County.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody knows about it, but the chat's been talking about it. Doug, our guy Tiny Hat that usually calls in about this time when we do the shows, we're actually got a little something in the works. It's going to be Monday, 9:30 Eastern, something like that. We're going to go with the first ever show. It's called the Renegade Roast. It's going to be hosted by him and Jen. So I guess you want to let the folks know a little bit about that and hype them up for that Monday. I guess everybody's been asking about it. It is real. It's not a joke. They're going to get some of their trolls off.
It's 100% real. I was thinking about picking a woman because I'm a woman, obviously, to do a show. But, with Tiny Hat and I, it just felt perfect. And I was like, you know what? This is more fun for me. I don't need to talk about outfits or clothes or like uniforms or gossip. I love to just make fun of people. I'm sorry. I know it sounds awful. I know I'm not saying make fun of people like for personal things, but like we get each other on a whole nother level. We love making fun of all the teams. It's so fun. We enjoy ourselves so much. I cannot wait. He calls me the Harley Quinn of Florida State, and he is the CEO of roasting and enjoying. So I cannot freaking wait. So yeah, I
Awesome.
decided, I was like, let's do Tiny Hat. I don't think there would need to be anybody better. Nobody wants to see two women discuss sports. Nobody on their like
It didn't work
absolutely.
for ESPN, so you know it's not going to
Yeah,
work here. Well, it
it's
is
just
8
not gonna
o'clock,
work.
and I've got some parental duties, so I will sign out. You guys have a great
Good for
rest of your Friday
you.
night,
Thank you for
and
joining
we'll
us.
catch up with you later. Take care.
Thanks
Have a
so
good
much for
one.
joining, Doug. Anytime, brother. Have a good one, and easy on those hard barbecue sauces or whatever that is the chat's decided.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye.
All right, man.
Bye.
Well, right on time with Doug heading out the front door. Our friend, right on cue. Speak of the devil, Tiny Hat Gang. The mic is yours, my friend.
Yay.
Yes, yes, yes. The Tiny Hat CEO has returned to the Renegade Report. How y'all doing tonight? Big Dog has just got to the house. I was trying to get to the lawyer real quick because I wanted to run some things by legal just to make sure that I can make these outlandish claims as long as I say
You
allegedly
can.
at the
Yes,
beginning
as
or at
long
the
as you
end.
say allegedly. As long as you say allegedly, it's good.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's all I needed to know. So
Yep.
either way, I wanted to report to everybody because I know people have been asking, people have been in my DMs, and somebody sent some smoke signals up, and I was able to take a look at the sky, and I can report back to y'all that the Tiny Hat FBI squad has found some documents, allegedly, from Mr. John Swaffer. We know where they are. He actually put them underneath the casket of one O.J. Simpson because he know ain't nobody trying to go down there to find them. Okay? He is hiding all of the documents so that we can't get a hold of them. But we are going to exhume that entire scenario that he got going on up, that whole situation up, and we going to get those papers. Okay, we are hot on his trail. He is running from us like Carmen Sandiego back in 1996 when I watched that on CBS. Yes, where in the world is Carmen John Swaffer? That's what we're dealing with right now. We cannot find this man, and he is making sure that he is ducking out. He is running all over the place, and he is leaving clues for us sleuths out here to go and find. Okay, I want to say it to everybody. I hope y'all have a great weekend because coming up on Monday, we are about to run some of these people down. All right, SEC fans, be ready. Okay, University of Coral Gables Hurricanes fans, oh, I can't wait for this. And that team that's up there somewhere north of Ocala, that old backwood raggedy ass town that y'all got going on up there with all of that moss hanging off them trees, we coming. All right, we coming. All right, Tiny
That
Hat
smells
Gang,
like boiled eggs. Yeah, we know. Can't wait.
As always, Tiny Hat comes in with the flames and hauls ass out the door. But yeah, stay tuned. Monday, around 9:30 Eastern. Come check out Jen and Tiny Hat with their brand new show, the Renegade Roast. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be so fun.
Again, the numbers up there. You guys are free to call in. There's not an absolute shit ton going on as far as, there's no practice. Recruiting isn't really popping. It's not going to get really going till June. Especially the end of June for us. The transfer portal just closed up, which that means nobody can enter. All that have entered, that's it. But there's still a possibility we could sign some guys. We currently have a guy on campus named I don't want to say it, Javier Suggs, something like that, a defensive line out of the portal. He's not a super high, recruit, guy from a lower division of football, but he would be a great rotational piece. And I believe if I had to bet money on it, he probably ends up committing probably before he leaves campus or sometimes this week. If not, it's not the end of the world, but it seems that they really want to pick up one defensive tackle, and he looks like the guy that's going to end up landing there. Is there anything transfer portal around the big three or anything that you had on your mind you needed to get off your chest?
Really? Is that really where you want to go with me right now? Any
Yeah.
transfer portal out of the big three? Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Miami fans, y'all got to stop thinking we're scared of you. Nobody's scared of you with your portal additions. We are seriously laughing at you because for years you said, if you live off the portal, you die by the portal. Blah, blah, that means you're not developing. And now all of a sudden that they're getting some mid players out of the portal, it's like, look at us, look at us. Oh my God, we're going to win the ACC. MFers, you haven't won the ACC in 20 years. You haven't won it. You haven't sniffed it. The one game and all these Miami fans. Did you forget we played in the ACC championship game in 2017? No, none of us forgot. We still laugh about it. You were down 30 points and you kicked a field goal so you didn't get shut out. We're all done with this. Nobody believes Miami's on the up. I don't care what anybody says. Mario Cristobal could have Tom Brady, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks on defense and still would fucking lose to Georgia Tech. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm over it. Until you start winning some games, go beat Florida in the swamp at 7 o'clock at night for the first game of the year. And I need you to at least win by 20 for me to believe you. Because otherwise, you're still going to lose to Boston Colleges, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. I don't believe you. I don't care. And we're just laughing because of your hypocrisy. Nobody is scared of Miami because it would be like being scared of the Cubs before they finally won a World Series. That's what the Miami Hurricane or the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys lose every game the first round of the playoffs. Nobody expects it. Stephen A. Smith comes in every Monday after the playoffs. And it's actually appointment TV for me. I love it because Dallas Cowboy fans remind me so much of Miami Hurricane fans. So again, yeah, that's what I feel about the portal right now. I didn't mean to go on a rant, guys. I'm sorry. It's hilarious to me, these Miami fans going, Florida State's so scared. They're so scared. Nobody's scared. We're laughing at you. We're laughing at you because, again, y'all are getting pumped up. It's our year. It's our year. Rinse, wash, repeat. We've done this for 20 years. Again, guys, Blockbuster was popping on Friday nights the last time those assholes won anything of any relevance. The Bigfoot pizza at Little Caesars was the actual meal you ate. No, none of these things are around. I don't know what to tell you. I just don't.
Yeah, they're the amount of kind of just delusion. It doesn't go unnoticed, but it's just hilarious. They signed this guy. He's like number 83 or number 600 something in the transfer portal rankings overall. And when you separate out for defensive linemen, he's somewhere down there, I believe 86, something to that nature. Meanwhile, we've got Marvin Jones Jr. He's up there in the top 10. You've got number 16 with Duro Jaye and number 17 with Siona Lilihea, or vice versa, right there in a row at 16, 17. Then you've got our guy playing the same exact position in Grady Kelly, who's like number 50. And then you have to go 3 pages down to get to their guy. They pretend since they've signed a couple blue chips in this period here, and they got, their quarterback Cam Ward on way past when everybody else signed their classes, that it's like this whole new thing. Nope. It's still the same exact class, just the difference between early signing day and the final signing day. We've already went through it all. We had a whole show breaking it down, showing the top recruits. Just pipe down there. I saw Storm Groove. I got to give credit due when it's due for a Miami fan at Storm Groove. He's calling Mario Sario, so that's a new one we can use on the show. I really love that old Sario down there in Miami. It's pretty funny. There's no doubt who's got the best recruiting class in the state of Florida, and it's Florida State, regardless of what anybody wants to tell you, and we'll see it when they hit the field. But again, as we sit here right at an hour mark, the phone number is 850-495-1906. If you have any questions, now is the time. And I'm going to pull up. There's a huge list of guys coming in. Don't worry about recruiting. When you want to talk about high school recruiting, and you're wondering when things are going to pick up, that's going to be June 21st through June 23rd. There is going to be a giant recruiting weekend at Doak Campbell. It's going to be maybe one of the biggest recruiting weekends we have to date. I don't know how many are going to commit that weekend, but just like last year when everybody was freaking out when these people were getting all these May and early June commits, don't freak out. June 21st through 23rd. And then July 4th, it's going to be fireworks all over the place. But as we all know, we already have Solomon Thomas committed. Peyton Joseph is, kind of predicted to go to Florida State by a couple different people. But I just want to read out this offensive line list that's going to be visiting here. All official visits as well, not unofficial visits. Big time visitors coming in, top O lines in the nation. It starts off with the number 2 offensive tackle out of Texas, Ty Haywood. Number 1 interior offensive lineman Solomon Thomas, who's already committed. Number 5 offensive tackle Josh Petty. Number 6 interior offensive lineman Cortez Smith. Number 7 interior offensive lineman Peyton Joseph. Number 22 offensive tackle Zaire Addison, who just had he's posting all kind of Florida stuff, and he locked in an official for there as well. I'm not really sure about Addison. He really, he's filling out his processes. I'm back and forth whether I think he's coming to Florida State or not, but we'll see. Dontrell Glover, another guy who's been all over the place. He's going to be there. The number 18 interior offensive lineman, Max Buchanan, he's a guy that's been, I believe, predicted by somebody. I think there's a really good chance you end up with Solomon Thomas, Peyton Joseph, and Max Buchanan, but we'll see. The big thing is going to find out who are those tackles going to be. But the last one's going to be another tackle in Rowan Byrne, who is the only 3-star on that entire list. But that just goes to show the resources and kind of the effort put forth by Alex Atkins and what they're trying to do this year. Chris has a bet for like $1,500 on a top 5 offensive line class. I believe that's what's going to happen. I think you get a group in like Jimbo Fisher did way back in like 2010, 2011, where you had a group of 4 or 5 guys who was able to start in that Champ Sports Bowl against Notre Dame. I don't know if that's exactly the situation that we'll have a year or two down the road, but I do see a large group of 4 or 5 guys coming in together and really kind of growing up and learning. And you see a good chunk of those guys end up playing together down the road. Don't count Alex Atkins out. The Alex Atkins slander you see around is just, for people wanting attention for all the wrong reasons. Alex Atkins is an absolute monster, and the level of which the talent we've brought in here. Doug Rohan mentioned it when he was in here. Like, this thing is steadily going up. I can't emphasize this enough because people want to talk and cry about the different recruiting things and this and that. Mike Norvell has strategically been pruning this roster, shearing it down to size, getting just the best talent that could possibly have here. And it's been, giant jumps year over year. 2022, you're at 31. Last year, 42. Now you're at 60-something. People need to understand that this thing, it's going in one direction, and we'll be at 80% or 70, 80% by next year. And the team is just getting better and better and better. And especially that offensive line. This year is going to be all about running the ball and play action pass. Running the ball, play action pass. And that defense, as much as people want to talk crap about the defensive line or recruiting this and that, watch out. I mean, it's just going to be nasty. I cannot freaking wait. It seems like the season's a year away, even though it's only 3 or 4 months. But anyways, this has been a lot of fun, guys. The line is still open. If you have any questions, now is the time. But I'm starting to run out of things. Anything on your mind there, Jen? Up, can't hear you. Can't hear you, Jen.
Sorry. I was coughing earlier. My bad. So yeah, somebody on the chat said, I said on this show that I didn't want Miami to get Cam Ward. This was not because I was scared of Miami to get Cam Ward. I've said this 1,001 times. I didn't want Miami to get Cam Ward for the meltdown that the fans did have when he decided on the NFL. Okay. This has nothing to do with me being scared. Oh, you will see he made the right choice. Cool, category 5. Why don't you go back maybe and go, post some more losing videos or something? I don't know what else to say to you. But yeah, this was all about, I didn't want him to pick Miami because I loved the meltdown the Miami fans had when he originally did not pick Miami and went to the NFL. Miami has a quarterback that doesn't want to be there. He wants to be in the NFL. He does not want to be there. He wanted to be at Ohio State if he was going to be stuck in college. I hate to tell anybody that, but that is the truth. Ohio State wouldn't talk to him. They wouldn't answer the phone. They wouldn't pick up the phone. They wouldn't talk to him. You're more than welcome to criticize me, but that is just the truth. Ohio State people will tell you the same thing. So
Look,
that's
here's
what I have to say.
Jen's right. Here's the truth of the matter. To what happened to Cam Ward. Whether you want to believe or not that FSU picked DJU, like we said, and it just worked out, and that's why he went the NFL draft route. Regardless, the word he got back was not good. He did not like it. He decided he needed to come back. And like Jen said, by the time he decided that he's coming back, the Florida State door, he already knew that wasn't the place for him. That door's been shut. Ohio State had their guy. They weren't answering the phone. Miami was just kind of the one option he had left. But Jen said for her reason why she didn't want him to go to Miami. I'm a big fan of Cam Ward.
Me
Just
too.
at the outset, at the very beginning.
No, he's really good.
I'm not saying he didn't. Yeah. At the very beginning, I said out of the two, I think he's probably the more talented, more high ceiling at the beginning. Eventually, I was swayed to DJU's side. We ended up getting him, and I'm all for it. But that doesn't change the fact that Cam Ward is talented as hell. The issue is, my problem with him going to Miami, so where's a possible place for him? He went from a place where he was kind of running from his life. He's had issue with turnovers, fumbles out the ass, interceptions as well. So to go to a Miami team, it's just tough. I don't see them putting him in some great position. I watched a guy in TVD who was hyped up as a first-round draft pick and just completely, washed out, ended up having to go somewhere else. So for me to think that a good fit is Cam Ward to just 1 year at Miami to run this ball control offense or whatever it is that Mario runs, it just doesn't. Maybe it works out. Maybe he's able to scramble and just backyard football it in that Mario Cristobal offense, but I don't see it. It's like you've seen it work with some NFL-style quarterbacks like a Justin Herbert, who is just ready to go at Oregon, but it's just a totally different thing with Cam Ward. We'll see. I could be wrong, but just the worst possible spot for him to go for 1 year to try to raise your draft stock, because that is not what we've seen from people at Miami here as of late. Maybe they change it. Maybe they'd all put it together this year. But I would challenge you to go watch the show I did the other day, or go look at their roster and the revolving gate that it is.
This is why Miami fans are so nationally made fun of. This comment, why did you take DJU after Cam Ward committed to us? Cam Ward committed to the NFL first, okay? I'm sorry. He did not commit to Miami first and then say, I'm going to go, what are you and then they took DJU. Are you not remembering January 1st? That's when it happened. That's the day. That's the day it happened. He committed to the NFL, which was hilarious. He's there. But the unfortunate thing is he didn't want to be there. His college choice was Ohio State. It wasn't even Florida State. I hate to break this news to Florida State fans. He wanted to be Ohio State. Ohio State wouldn't answer the phone. They had other ideas. I don't know what to tell you. Yes, Charles King, we get it. He's there. He doesn't really want to be there. I mean, this isn't 1 + 1. This isn't hard. But again, Miami fans live in a whole different world. You married the man you didn't want to? Well, I'm not married. So no, I didn't. Thank you.
What?
It's the chat. These are Miami fans in the chat. Like, they've come involved because I guess they got their back signals out that we were talking about Cam Ward. So they've all shown up here. They're losers. They don't have anything better to do. No jobs. They're bots, pretty much. They don't really have lives. I get it. But this is nothing to do with Cam Ward not being good. I think Cam Ward is very good. I'm just not scared of Cam Ward at Miami because I'm 100% sure that Mario Cristobal is going to ruin him. I proof is in the pudding. Sorry.
Without a doubt. It doesn't. Yeah. It has nothing. It's just a bad situation. That's all there is to it. And we'll see. That's why I can't wait for the season to get here. People are still holding on to, they just think, oh, it was a fluke. It was 1 year fluke for Mike Norvell. But they're going to find out soon enough. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of these kind of, forget the guy's name, Jesse Simonton. I see you out there at On3. Keeps posting all these top 10, top 15 lists of players this upcoming season, running backs, quarterbacks, all these things. And FSU is just missing. just like they are kind of every year. But people are going to find out what the season starts, what's what, and who's who. It's going to be a lot of fun. Starting at Ireland and then coming back home, Boston College, and then Memphis. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really can't wait to just see us get on the field and put it down. But shit, I'm about good on it. I don't have much left unless you've got anything, Jim. Or we have anything from the chat? If you guys have any calls,
Let's
now's the
see. Does
time.
anybody have anything else before we get out? Because we got a lot of people still in. If you guys have anything. Oh, that cocaine. I love that. I mean, not the cocaine.
What?
I don't love cocaine. I'm talking about the joke about the canes. And then, you know, they get really mad at me when I make fun of them for taking cocaine because it's funny.
Well,
I
just
didn't
read the joke or something because I can't see it.
Oh, it's just someone said
And
all
we
the
have people that are just listening and stuff.
Yeah, they said all the dash cane, and it was just funny. You know, it's funny.
Absolutely.
What bra size is Mario is another question we've got.
That's a great question.
I believe he is a full B cup. I don't think he is a full, like, he's a C. He's not a small C. I think he's a full B cup because he's got a small head and his hands are very small. So I think he's got a full B cup. I don't think he's a full man with his man boobs. I think he's still like, I don't know that his balls have dropped yet. So I don't really know for sure. We'll see. I'd say a full B cup. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I'd say he's got a C. You got a C.
Really? I think it's a full B.
He probably wears it a little big just to try to show off like he actually fills it up. Something like that.
Yeah. Any other questions? Let's see.
Somebody was asking if you saw a Jameis interview with a rubber horse or some shit. I don't know what they were talking about.
I saw him with the fish that he caught, which was amazing. I loved every minute of it. I have not seen the rubber horse. I'll have to look that up. Everything Jameis does is always funny.
Never surprises. You know, it's just par for the course.
It's always amazing. So I'll have to look that up for sure. But I have not seen that. Where is the rubber horse interview? Is it just like on Twitter or?
I have no idea what the hell they were talking about.
Rubber
Chat,
horse.
help us out. But yeah, nope, I have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, we have a call. So we do have a caller here. You're live on the Renegade Rundown. What can we do for you?
Yeah, hey George, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, brother.
Yeah. Hey to you too, Jen.
Hi.
Hey. So I heard you talking earlier about the rooster, and what a sad day for Seminole Nation losing the rooster. I met the rooster about 10 years ago at a local gym, and what a great guy. Every time I saw him, he would accommodate me and talk about, especially the 1998 game against the Gators. Of course, every Seminole knows about that game. Yeah. So when I heard the news, man, it really shocked me because the funny thing is I saw him about 3 weeks ago, and he looked great. He was in great shape. Always in great shape, by the way. And so when I heard the news, I was really, really saddened and shocked to hear that.
No doubt, man. We're right there with you. We sure appreciate you calling to give your condolences. Did you have any questions or anything before we let you go?
Not really, man. Just I think that defensive tackle we're looking at from the portal. I didn't get to see any videos, on him or anything like that. But what do you know about him?
Yeah, well, we appreciate the call, and since you've asked it, I'll go ahead and pull it up and give you everything we have on him. A lower division defensive tackle who I think is going to end up at Florida State. We sure appreciate your call, brother. Keep them coming in.
Right. Yeah, thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Absolutely. Super awesome caller, and we appreciate him calling. To pay his respects to Rooster again, an FSU legend in his own right, even as a backup. But yeah, Javier Suggs, I believe it is. But let me look it up just so I can give you guys the exact info there on him. the defensive tackle out of Grand Valley State, I believe it is. He's also talking to Michigan and Michigan State, some other schools, I believe, that are that have offered. They've got him at like a 89 or 86. There's really not a lot to tell. Just a guy from a D2 school, 6'3", 305, 310 pounds. So somebody that could come in and be another Daniel Lyons, maybe Grady Kelly or somewhere in between, just be a rotational piece. Not somebody you think that's going to come in here and start. Again, you've already heard about, I believe it's Jurajaye that they're playing inside already. We've talked about new CC Onilolohe having the ability to do that. So yeah, just a piece to come in, not a bunch to. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be the greatest defensive tackle to ever come in. It's going to be a guy to hopefully be a part of the rotation.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I believe we have come to a pretty natural conclusion here. It has been an absolute blast. Doug was great. All the comments was great. The calls. Anything before we get out of here, Jen?
No, I don't think so. I know I've been kind of out of the loop because I was traveling for God knows how long. I feel like I've just gotten home and gotten my feet, underneath me. But who was your favorite person to meet at the spring game? Not favorite, but like who was the biggest star that made you go when you met him?
I mean, it'd have to be Michael Alford. That was definitely the coolest for sure. There is no doubt about it. That it was Michael Alford. And he did not disappoint. He was absolutely great. But I mean, the thing is, I've already met P-Dub and Snoop and all those guys previously. So that was the big one that was new for me, was getting to meet Alford. So like, it's amazing every time you run into those guys. But that was the biggest one. And then I had, before there was one thing I wanted to mention. Charles King said, what are the chances Norvell go after another, or I think he's saying that the four guys we brought ended up being another Verse, Fisk, Vincent.
He's a Miami fan though, so.
But I don't give a shit. The odds of getting those particular four, I mean, you're naming like literally four of the best guys to ever come in. So I would say the odds of getting another one of those guys, 100%, it's going to happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be you get four in one class or all four of the defensive linemen, since that's the most, the more of your names you listed there. Florida State brought in 4 defensive linemen this year. They brought in like 10 overall, 10 or 12 total. The very worst of those have been Jarrett Jackson and Gilbert Edmond, 2 guys who provided good depth. They ended up leaving. But outside of that, the whole entire other 8 either got drafted or signed undrafted free agent deals. I mean, people want to say it's luck, this and that. Well, you hit with Fabian Lovett. Bam. Then 21, you hit with Jermaine Johnson. And bam, 22, you hit with Jared Verse. Bam, 23, you hit with the next one. Jared Verse, who am I missing? Braden Fisk for 2023. Basically 3 years in a row you signed a first rounder out of the portal, or Braden Fisk, who's if Fisk could have had 2 years with us, he'd have certainly been a first rounder, even if he'd have been a little healthy throughout the first year. So we're definitely gonna get, they're coming.
That's the one for me that it's like, if we could have just had him for another year, oh my God, because he so came on at the end of the year. He was so good. Yeah, I with that question, I guess like that dude's a Miami fan. I think he's just saying, look, we're reloading. We've done this wonderful recruiting class, this portal class that's still ranked below Florida State. Cool beans. We get it. Nobody cares. You're still coached by Mario. Nobody's scared. Go win some games and then we'll talk.
He's not talking crap. I thought he was pretty good, but I may have missed it. But he seemed awful nice to me.
I don't know. Yeah. You need to go back through it because, you can tell he's a Miami fan. There's a lot.
Jen doesn't forget, so you can't be an ass earlier and then try to be regular later. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Damn Miami folks.
Well, they don't have anything better to do.
There you
because
go. Charles King, Earl Malik have no production.
Yeah.
Kind of like every single player that y'all get out of high school that y'all are so proud of.
Yeah.
they have no production. And then they get all these saps in their freshman year and they transfer out. And then what do you got this year? Oh, well, they got passed up by the freshmen that came this year.
It's always an excuse.
it's a
It's
story
rinse,
of
wash,
any
repeat
kind.
for you guys. Like, we're over it. If y'all want to continue to just show up, we're fine with it. But you have to win some games before you continue to pound your chest. Nobody gives a shit about your old ass rings, 5 rings, whatever. Harvard has a bunch of rings too. And you don't see them popping off every time that, you know, they want to start involving themselves in college football. Shut up, win some games, move on, stop being losers, stop losing to Georgia Tech. I don't know, win the sorry ass ACC. The ACC sucks so bad, Wake Forest has won it before you. I mean, it's gross. This is disgusting. Nobody cares about Miami. It's just funny at this point. Move on, find something to do. Stop being bot fans and show up to your games. Show up to fan events. Be there. Do something else other than terrorize people on the internet and allow us to make fun of you because of it. There you go.
Facts. No doubt about it. So we'll see you Hurricanes and Sario fans later. To the Florida State folks in the chat, we love you. Of course, Tiny Hat always coming in to roast these guys. T Smiles, Paul Clifton, we both got to meet them. Nick Snyder, everybody we got to meet at the tailgate. Thank you all for joining us. Trash ass, hurrah lames, as our friend Tiny Hat would say. We'll see you guys next time, and we will go out on some of that. What's his name? What's that feller? Trub Life. That's his name. We're going to go out on some Trub Life. Go Knowles, and we'll see you guys. When is it next? Sunday? We'll see you Sunday right here at the Renegade Report.
Hey, man. FSU versus everybody. Let's go. First off, fuck Bama in the Roll Tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn almost caught y'all slacking like dress pants. Michigan trash, they ain't got a damn chance. Only Wolverine I respect is X-Man. Keen ass coach got exposed, still in plays. Damn right I'm bitter, y'all sweeter than lemonade. Texas ain't shit to rave about. The Longhorns only good at a state.